The UK has reported that this new variant transmits more easily, but there is no evidence so far that it's more likely to cause severe disease or mortality. WHO is working with scientists to understand how these generic changes affect how the virus behaves. The bottom line is that we need to suppress transmission of all SARS-CoV-2 viruses as quickly as we can. The more we allow it to spread, the more opportunity it has to change. I cannot stress enough to all governments and all people how important it is to take the necessary precautions to limit transmission.
All right, well, let's speak to Dr. Mohammed Munir. He's a virologist at Lancaster University here in the UK. Dr. Munir, we just heard from the WHO. They're saying that this faster spreading strain is no more deadly than the original coronavirus, but it has sparked mass panic, not least between Britain and Europe. How can you reassure people that we know this strain is no more deadly?
Well, that's true. I mean, there is no evidence that the mutations that are reported within this new strain can cause severity of the disease more than the regular strain. But the problem is that if it is more transmissible, that means more people will be infected. And we know the higher the infection, higher the hospitalization, and then higher unfortunate fatality. So it would ultimately have impact onto the death toll into the human population. So that is really important ever before to stop the spread of this infection to the extent we can, so that the virus did not get the chance to spread as much as it would have the capability to do so.
So do you think that because it's far more transmissible, 70% more infectious, that it is going to be more deadly just because purely it is spreading to more of the population?
Yes, absolutely, Selena. This is what we have noticed, that when the infection rate increases, the hospitalization increases, and unfortunately, the deaths are directly proportional to the number of hospitalization. So therefore, I am seeing this one as a major concern in the coming days, particularly when we have some level of relaxation during the festive season. First, that the virus would have definitely increased in number of infections. And with this particular strain, if it is even more infectious, that means we will see a significant surge in number of cases. And particularly in UK, we have already seeing the evidences for this one. So certainly the first couple of weeks within January would be very hard to tolerate.
So if it's so impossible to contain, is the answer then to get the population vaccinated as quickly as possible?
Yes, absolutely. I think the only way probably moving forward safely is to get at least 70% of the population immunized, so that we establish the herd immunity. Because if we do so, that means that people, we can not only that we can protect people, but also would have some level of blockage on the transmission. And what we really need to do is to block the transmission of the infection. Certainly, we have strong evidences that both Pfizer and Moderna, and hopefully the AstraZeneca, which once it is approved, is certainly life-saving regime. But what we don't really know is that whether these would block the transmission. And if those will be proven, that would be the way moving forward to establish herd immunity and to really curtail this pandemic.
But so what then happens with mutations further down the road? If this was always going to be the case that this virus mutates, will it continue to mutate?
Well, that is, I think, the most important question, because if you recall, I mean, when we were first infected back in January, we didn't have any immunity against this virus. So therefore, virus has an open ground to play. But now, within last 11, 12 months, we have established some level of immunity. I mean, according to an estimation, we have around 20% of the population that are having the immunity against this natural course of infection. So this means now virus is finding hard to survive within the human population because it's got some resistance. So therefore, virus will mutate and will mutate quite frequently. And specifically speaking about this strain, it acquired 23 mutation in total. Out of 23, 17 mutation occurred in a very short time. And that is really worrying for me as a virologist, that viruses don't accommodate that many mutations in a very short time. But once they find immunological pressure into the human population, they mutate quite frequently, and that can lead to something that is unusual within the infectious diseases.
OK, Dr. Munir, thanks so much. It's always so good to get your insight. Thanks for joining us.